Guys, and welcome back to my channel. In this video I have something special for you guys. As promised in my last video about vacuum tubes, I have a very big tube here. Also, this is the first video where I show my face, because otherwise I couldn't do this tube justice. I just have to stand next to it so you guys can understand how massive this tube is. This was the real pain to get here. But it's finally in my room. It's a very big, massive water-cooled tube. This is the BTW 150-2. It's also called the Super Triode from Brown Brewery. So a very nice little tube. We are talking about 614 kilowatts output on this little tube right here. The filament takes 20 volts at 570 amps, which is over 11 kilowatts, but I have some car batteries right here, and later in this video we will power this tube on, and I will show you guys the filament. I can show you guys some technical specs about the tube. The crazy thing is, it has an anode dissipation of roughly 220 kilowatts, so 220,000 watts of heat just on the anode. The grid has, I think, 7 kilowatts of 7 kilowatts of grid dissipation, which is kind of crazy. It has more dissipation than the GU5B has on its anode, which is kind of insane. Also, I think most of you guys are familiar with the GU81. So right here we have the GU81 for scale, and if you guys look, the tube is pretty big. It's massive. My camera woman can step a bit closer and film the top of the tube. Right here we have the filament connections. They are also labeled. If you look on the top, it says 1, 3, 4, 2. In this tube, I can show you guys on the paper. Because the tube draws such a high current, we share the filament connections on each side with 2 pins. So in this case, 1 and 3 are connected together, and 4 and 2. This is to split the current equally on the pins, because we are talking about 570 amps. And actually I read a paper about the tube. When the tube is running at full power, the pins stay so cool that you can touch them without burning yourself. So that is pretty impressive. Also, there are the specs for the air cooling on there. This tube doesn't actually need that much air for cooling the pins, because if you look a bit closer inside the glass, you can see the thick copper on each of the pins that goes inside. So yeah, 2 of these on each side to handle 570 amps is more than enough. Actually, when we hook up the filament, I did a few tests, and these pins don't get warm even if you just put the current on 2 pins. So it's pretty damn impressive. Here we have the grid connection, a nice massive ring. Here on the bottom we have the anode, and I don't know if you guys can tell, but you can see a spiral pattern on the tube. This is probably because this tube is used. It was in the cooling jacket, and the cooling jacket probably had a spiral path in it for the water to flow. So that's why it has this oxidation on it. Even though the tube is used, it is working. I had put a voltage across the anode, and I measured the current when applying voltage onto the grid, and it seems fine. So yeah, I think that's enough talking for now. So let's hook up the filament. To hook up the filament, I will use these 2 car batteries that are sitting on the sofa. You can come a bit closer, and let's hook them up. Some of you guys are probably wondering, I just said this tube needs 20 volts for the filament, but I'm using 2 car batteries that are now at roughly 13 volts, so we have 6 volts more than the tube needs. But actually at these currents, the jumper cables act as a resistor and the voltage drops across them. So we will see roughly 20 volts across the pins of the tube. So I will hook up the batteries in series. One connection will be on pin 2. So we will hook up one side to ground. Then we will use the next jumper cable to connect ground of this battery to that's the wrong cable. No, sorry, I just got confused a little. So yeah, we have to take this off again. The wires are tangled, so sorry for that. Yeah, so we will hook up the batteries in series. One here, one here. We will hook up ground to here. And now I have this thick jumper cable that will be connected to pin 1. Like I said, I will only connect 2 of the pins because I don't have so many jumper cables, and like I said, the connections are over engineered, so that's fine. And I will hook up this to that. And now we are basically done. Here I'm gonna use a drill bit, and now the moment of truth. 1, 2, 3. And now you can see the tube glow. You can, if you try to film inside it, you can kinda see the filament, but yeah, wait, I will stand next to it. This is a real serious tube, so yeah, pretty damn impressive, isn't it? So yeah, this is no toy. Obviously I would need roughly 800 kilowatts to get the full power out of this tube, and which is also pretty crazy, you need roughly 20 kilowatts to drive the grid. So yeah, pretty damn impressive. Maybe in the future, when EV batteries will be dirt cheap, I can build a massive half-bridge inverter to drive a Faraday transformer and then drive this beast, but we will see. That's something we will talk about in 20 to 30 years, so yeah, there's no rush. So yeah, that is about it, about the tube. Maybe I will try to build something with it. I will have to think about it, what I can do. I can try to hook it up to a VTTC like there on the floor, but yeah, we will have to see. If you guys have any idea what I can do with this tube, you can leave me a message, and yeah, maybe I will build something nice with it. Maybe an audio amp, which would be kind of stupid, but yeah, we will see. Oh, and also I didn't mention that this tube has a pretty high anode voltage of 18 kV, which is pretty unusual, but I don't know, for some reason they chose that. This was used in industrial and in transmitter applications. I think the maximum frequency is about 30 megahertz, so it's not that high, but what can you expect from a tube that is this big? It will have a lot of capacitance. I could use it as a tank cap in VTTC, maybe I will do that at some point. But yeah, pretty damn impressive. This is probably the last tube that exists from this series. They were pretty expensive back then. If you calculate it back into euros, that would be over 300,000 euros that this tube cost back then if you would buy it new. So yeah, they weren't made in big quantities and then put into some storage. I think if someone wanted this tube, it would be manufactured just for them. So it's pretty likely that this is maybe the last tube of its kind, but yeah, it's hard to tell. There's nothing online about it. So yeah, that's about it. If you guys have any questions about the tube or about other tubes in my collection, you can leave a comment and I will try to answer them. And yeah, hope you guys liked it.